police come and the ambulance come and they check us out, and there's like nothing wrong with us, but I'm completely shaking. But I hear in the back, they're like, they ran over a bear. And the guy was like, they ran over a bear? And he's like, let me call my meat guy. And the guy calls his buddy to take this bear and make meat out of it. And I am freaking out. I'm just like, I need to get out of this place. I need to leave.
Hello and welcome to another episode of the Top Podcast. I'm your host, Mike, joined as always by my friends Rob.
What up?
And Lou.
Hello.
And if you would be so kind to ignore the Alexa alarm going off in the background, I'm sure the intern will take care of it shortly. As in all weeks, we like to start off with a fun question. This week's question was brought to you by Mackenzie, and she would like to know what fictional trio we think best represents the three of us. I'm going to start. I was actually talking to Rob's mother-in-law about this recently, and we decided that Harry, Ron, and Hermione is actually a very, very good fit. She said that Rob is Harry.
Woo, Gryffindor.
And that Lucian was Ron, and that I was Hermione. And I thought that was actually really apt because Ron he's kind of the heart of the group. And I think that's like my favorite thing about Lou is that, well, me and Rob can be kind of cold and analytical sometimes. He brings some humanity to an otherwise closed off pair of individuals. And I like whenever somebody says I'm the smart one. So I have no complaints with that either. So thank you to Rob's mother-in-law for leading me down that track.
And I'm the freaking main character, dang it. Well, my answer is going to seem a lot less analytical, and it's kind of just more of a goof. I'm going to say the first legendary dog trio from Gen 2, because we all got that dog in them. Let's see. I'm going to say, Mike, you can be Raikou.
Dude, that would have been my pick.
Lou, I'll give you Sweet Coon, and I'll be Entei.
Which one's Sweet Coon? I've been out the game for a minute.
The blue one.
He's the one from Crystal.
Oh, the blue one. Nice. Very cool. I'll take it.
No, that works. Raikou was actually the first legendary dog I ever encountered, and I didn't know what to do. I freaked out. I used my Master Ball.
Hey, at least you caught him.
Yeah, at least you got him.
Because up until that point, every legendary I'd ever encountered was like, you get one shot at this. And I was just like, oh, I didn't know he'd keep roaming, you know? I was just like, oh, a legendary just showed up. I gotta catch him.
Yeah, it kind of makes sense that you have the kid in the group.
It's all dogs in this mug, you know?
For me, it's not a trio. There's four. What do you call that? A quadro? Is that just
Quartet?
Spanish? Quartet. Yes. It is the Penguins of Madagascar. I'm gonna say Robert is Skipper. And I'm gonna say Mike is Kowalski. And then I feel like I'm between Rico and Private. Kind of like.
Are you Googling this right now, or do you know them by name?
I am totally Googling this right now.
Okay.
I do not know them by name.
I was so impressed.
I just didn't know Kowalski. I knew the other three.
Yeah, I just I wanted to come correct. I just didn't want to say, leader, the skinny one, and the two creeps. But
Rico's not a creep.
Rico is. Did you see? Have you seen Rico's face? He's a creep.
He's like. I always thought he's like the Russian of the group who just like does all the explosions and all that. That's how I saw him. Are you saying all Russians are creeps?
Ooh, no.
Wow.
Maybe.
Good save.
I don't know. I'm just like, Rico and Private are on the spectrum, the far ends of the spectrum. Like Rico is gonna like look at you in your face when he smells your feet, but Private's gonna sneak behind you and smell your feet, Private. So I'm like in the middle between those two.
So you're a foot sniffer.
You're gonna be side-eyeing me when you sniff my feet?
Or just looking. He's gonna be just looking at the feet, taking them all in.
I think I dug myself in a hole. I personally am not into feet, but I do not shame for people who are. Live your life. I do find it interesting that there are no women that are into feet, that it's only men.
I think there's probably women in the feet. They're just less vocal.
I guess.
Based on my Only Toes analytics, there's lots of women who are into feet.
I will say there was a middle schooler, and it was a girl, and she took a picture of my foot, and she said that she's going to put it on a foot finder. So.
Oh, no.
Also, I just feel like men's feet are gross, so that's probably part of it, too.
Yeah, that's fair.
Some people are into that.
One of my favorite statistics, I have no clue if it's true or not, I just heard it and ran with it, is that 1 in every 7 adults has a foot fetish. And so whenever I'm in a room of 7 people or more, I just like to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. One of you freaks has a foot fetish.
It is like one of
They don't know it's
the
me.
top comment. Ooh. It was really weird to be talking with 2 foot fetish people with him and Cantwell, you know.
Cantwell is in the peak too.
It was just a joke in our fraternity. We'd always like, oh, like let me see those little doggies down there.
You know, no shame, man. No shame. God made feet, and feet don't hurt.
If you're into foot
No
fetish,
way to
just
know.
like comment on our video and let us know.
Tell us what you like about feet.
For 5
Give it
likes,
detail.
we'll send you Lucian's big toes.
Just 2 of my
Just
put
the big
together?
toes. No,
Just
like
the
one of
big
each. We'll,
toes,
we'll crop it so it's like you only see the big toes.
Well, I prefer a blur. I feel like that'd be funny.
Okay, we can put a Gaussian blur on it.
Yeah, so I think we would be penguins. That's where that came from. All right, Mike, what are we talking about today?
Oh, that's right. We have an actual topic. So this week we are talking about our top 5 sitcom moments. So whether that be your favorite, whether it be the one you think is the funniest, as always, up to interpretation because that's more fun. But yeah, that's what we're talking about.
There is a spoiler warning for every show we're talking about.
I'm going to start us off with one of my favorite moments, probably my favorite moment from Community. I believe it is season 1. I want to say it's episode 9. I believe the episode is called Debate 109. And it's the episode where Annie joins the debate club, but finally meets her match in one of their crosstown rivals. And she goes to Jeff and gets Jeff to help her out because Jeff was a lawyer. And the 2 of them are studying late for this debate. And there begins to arise a certain amount of sexual tension. And when they both kind of recognize this moment, Jeff's like,
You know, maybe we should study alone.
Yeah.
Separately.
That way we can be more reproductive. Productive!
and that line has stuck with me ever since. It just absolutely killed me. It was the moment that I just kind of was like, okay, this show's for me. That's my number 5.
Whenever I rewatch Community, I always think it's weird to me that they tried to have like Jeff and Britta be a thing.
Yeah, they kept trying for too long.
It was like 3 episodes. You know, well, it would just periodically pop up, and you're just like, no.
Well, isn't that the reason why they started the study group? Period.
Yeah.
Is because he was trying to smash.
Mhm.
Yeah. So that makes sense.
Him and Annie definitely have a lot better chemistry.
Dude, I agree. I always kind of wanted those two to get together. Even though, like, the older I get, the more I kind of understand, like, oh, yeah, that age thing is a problem.
Math
But
does
when I
not
was
check
closer
out.
to 18, yeah. When I was closer to 18, though, it didn't seem that creepy. And I was just like, I like these two characters. I want them to get together. Yeah, now I'm like, no, I understand why Jeff was so hesitant.
Maybe in the movie.
It's one of those.
I'm sure there's going to be some time skip, so, you know, maybe in the movie they'll get together.
Maybe. That would honestly make me very happy.
So I don't remember sitcoms was part of it. I thought it was TV shows. So I have 2 on here that are not sitcoms. I think that's okay. I don't think you guys will kick me off the podcast. I appreciate it. All right, so my first.
But it is your second strike.
Hey, I did not choose to get locked into the bathroom. It just happened. Okay. Golly, I got slippery fingers. Okay, my number 5 episode's called Parking Lot, season 2, episode 5, a TV show called I Think You Should Leave. I understand that this TV show is not for everybody. And I think there are a lot of hit and miss with this guy, but this little skit I think is one of the funniest things in the world. So it's the main character, the guy who created the show, is just does not know how to drive, but he's somehow in this parking lot, and he's blocking the exit, and another guy is trying to get out of the parking lot, and he's yelling at the main character.
What is your problem, man? You know how to drive? No. What? No, I don't know how to drive. I don't know what any of this is, and I'm scared.
And the main character just forgot how to drive. He just doesn't know how to move the car anymore. And he just starts going on the spiel about how he could be his boss one day, and that if he has an interview and he does well, the main character is going to make sure that he doesn't get the job because he's yelling at him to move the car. I feel like I'm doing it a disservice. It is super funny. It just brings me a lot of joy.
No, that show is hilarious, and it's so hard to describe because it's so the comedy of it is the shock value and how over the top it gets.
Yeah,
and so it's almost impossible to describe how uncomfortable the moments can get. But They're so good.
Yeah, and I love how he swings for the fences every single time. So it could either
Right.
bomb, and I'd be like, "Oh, this is the most unfunny thing I've ever seen in my life," or it could be like, I'm dying laughing. This is too funny." And then like I also like this part because sometimes my wife is not a great driver, and so I just picture her in the situation, and when there's like the whole idea of like fight or flight, she's neither.
Yeah.
She
Is
just like
she freeze?
hunkers.
She's freeze. That's the
She
third one most
freezes.
people don't
Yeah,
forget about.
yeah. So she'll just like stand. She'll just stand there. So like we were driving and a Tesla was honking at her, and she just like didn't go. The Tesla is just like blaring the horn, and Christian was just like, I don't know how to drive anymore. Like I just don't. So it's just kind of that's why I find it so funny is because it relates to my wife. My wife has a lot of great qualities. I'm not trying to dog on my wife. It's just driving is not one of them.
I've never even seen that show, so like, what's the premise?
They're
It's
all just like really dumb skits, and it's like my two other favorite is one, the guy's in a meeting and the meeting gets pushed forward and the guy couldn't eat his hot dog for lunch, so he sneakily eats the hot dog during the meeting in this like super important merger meeting or whatever, and he starts choking on the hot dog. Hilarious. It just doesn't sound funny, but it is quite funny.
no,
And
it's true. It's impossible to describe in a way that like fits.
Yeah, and then I think this one's gonna do well. But you know the pay it forward on like drive-through lines.
Mm-hmm.
So he finds out that they're doing a pay it forward, and and so he gets his meal paid for, and then so he pays the meal. Doesn't do the. I think he does. He might do the pay it forward, but he drives around the drive-through again and orders like 55 hot dogs, 55 cheeseburgers, 55 like coffees. And make sure and tries to see if they'll pay for it because it's a whole like pay it forward.
That's amazing.
I'm guessing they don't.
See, it's
And he's stuck with the bill.
Yeah, and then the guy in the front of him was like yelling at him. He's like, "I'm not paying for this," and the guy's like, "Come on, be kind. I did it for you." Like, and then the lady behind him finds out they're doing a pay it forward, and then does it again. Like 55 cheeseburgers, 55 hot dogs, 55 sodas. It's hilarious. That's my number 5.
For my list, Mike, when you said moments, when I think of moments, I think of like usually like very like heartfelt, like feel good moments. For that, it was kind of hard to find 5 of them. So my number 5 is just something I think is just hilarious. But for the most part, I tried to find like what just warms my heart and things like that for my list. That's how I went about doing it. But my number 5 is from Always Sunny in Philadelphia, season 4. The episode is called Sweet D Has a Heart Attack, and it is the Pepe Sylvia bit. Which Lucian, have you seen this one? The Pepe Sylvia.
I watched it in college, so it's been a long time.
Okay. Well, there's like this.
And I've been all through it.
Yeah, there's this famous meme, this famous shot taken from Always Sunny, and it's that one. Basically, there's this running joke that this one character is dyslexic and can't read, and one of the characters has a heart attack, so like, okay, we gotta get insurance. And they get a job in the mailroom, and the guy that can't read and is dyslexic in the mailroom.
There is no Pepe Sylvia. The man does not exist, okay? So I decided, buddy, I gotta dig a little deeper. There's no Pepe Sylvia. You gotta be kidding me. I got boxes full of Pepe.
And the theory is, because it's set in Philadelphia, the theory is that on the paper it says Pennsylvania, but he's seeing it Pepe Sylvia. And he's just like, there's no Pepe Sylvia. They got boxes of Pepe. And he's just like losing his mind. He has red tape everywhere. He's smoking a cigarette. He's like, I go up from Carol to HR and go, Carol. And guess what, Mac? There's no one from HR. This place is a ghost town. And it's just like, he's just gone totally insane. And it is so funny to watch. And it's the absurdist, crazy humor that I love. So that is my number 5.
That's actually really clever. If that's you said it's just a theory that it says Pennsylvania, and he's like misreading it.
Yeah, the creators haven't come out and say it, but that's what, like one of the jokes is like,
I love that.
It's like, why did you think that door says pirate? He's like, that door says private. So it's like just a running gag throughout the thing. So like a lot of people think that's what it was.
I love that. That honestly, that kind of thing is one of my favorite things when shows are just either one, it was a total accident, or two, they did it intentionally and they're just brave enough to trust that the audience will get their joke. Mm-hmm. Like, I love that.
And even if they didn't mean for it, it's still just funny as all get out.
Yeah, there's so many. It's so funny because I wasn't gonna do Always Sunny in Philadelphia because it's so inappropriate, but there's so many funny things. Always Sunny. I really like. Do you remember an episode where the toilet had crack on it, and if you sat on it, you got high?
No, but that
Do you remember
sounds
that
like
episode?
something from Always Sunny.
I can't find. I'm looking it up right now, and I can't find it. I don't know if this was a fever dream because when I was watching it, I tore my ACL, so I was on a lot of drugs, or it just really happened. But I remember like it was like a drug seat, and then if you sat on it and pooped on it, you get high. But I can't find it. But I do remember when I think it was Mac and then one other person lived together. You remember that episode?
Well, him and Dennis lived together for a while.
Where like they were making mac. Somebody was making mac and cheese.
Oh,
and
the world famous mac and cheese.
Yeah. It's a crazy show. It's insane. The first episode though is super racist.
Yeah, you gotta skip through basically the whole first season.
Yeah.
Definitely a show they
You
could
won't
not
miss
make
anything.
now. Some of the stuff they say.
Yeah,
earlier
for
on.
sure. My favorite episode was when there was like a I can't remember. There was like a T-bone steak truck. It was like a meat truck. And what's one's the crazy one again?
That's Charlie.
Charlie, and then Charlie had to orchestrate like the bar, and they had to like feed him. They had to feed the truck driver outside with a steak. Do you remember that one?
Yeah, I don't. That's like a kind of also a running thing is like that Charlie is the actual reason why the bar functions, and like he's actually sometimes he's like a genius, but other times he's insane. Like the whole Pepe Sylvia
Insane,
is Charlie,
yeah.
but yeah, like he is. They like have this plan, something with like bats and chicken or something, and he's like, guys, the inspectors are coming, and he has to like make sure that they're all in like separate rooms and everything, and then yeah, it's a good episode.
Such a beautifully written episode where like everything just works so perfectly.
Back to you, Mike.
All right. My number 4 is the Seinfeld episode The Hamptons. That is season 5, episode 21. And there's two gags in this one, but the one that I think is just untouchably funny, like it deserves to be up there, is essentially the whole group goes up to the Hamptons, and George and Jerry both bring a date with them. And George's date, he just started seeing her. They all go swimming, and George is changing after swimming, and his date accidentally walks in on him changing.
Oh my God! I'm sorry, I thought this was the baby's room. I'm really sorry.
I was in the pool! I was in the pool!
And then for the rest of the episode, George is trying to subtly explain the concept of shrinkage, but in a way that would be allowed to be on NBC in the 90s.
Like
and
shrinkage as in the penis shrinkage?
That's the kind.
Okay. Making sure we're on the same page.
Yeah, and so like at one point he comes out wearing like this shirt that's too small, and he's like, "Oh, the shirt. It used to be a very appropriate size, but then I washed it and it shrunk because that's what water does to things." And it's so good. Just like and it gets so uncomfortable, which is what I like in my comedy, is just somebody getting stuck on a concept and just not letting it go until it's just unbearable. And there's so many good scenes. It's just they try to explain it to Elaine to figure out, like, okay, so what did she see? Girls talk to each other, and Elaine discovering for the first time about shrinkage is also priceless. Like, if you're gonna watch an episode of Seinfeld for the first time, I don't know this is the best one to watch, but you could do a lot worse.
I've seen clips of the episode, but I never made it far enough in the show to watch the whole thing.
Yeah,
I have never watched it either.
Seinfeld takes a minute to get going. The first season is Office level, not that good, and even season 2 is kind of slow. But once it gets going, it's unstoppable.
Yeah, I watched the first episode twice, and I've hated it both times. And I just
the whole first season sucks.
Yeah, it's just like really the first episode is just I don't know how to word it without being like rude or like being. It's just. I don't know what other word. It just feels like a lot of dick riding. I don't know what else to say. It's just like Seinfeld. I don't have Seinfeld in my top 5 comedians. I don't know how you guys feel about it.
Stand-up comedians?
Yeah,
nowhere near the top 5.
Shout out to all my Schitt's Creek fans. I know you guys are abundant.
Yeah, Mac.
And this is only going to be funny for anybody who watches Schitt's Creek, which is neither of you guys. So put it in just for you. So Family Dinner, episode 2, Season 2, episode 2. Fold in the cheese. As soon as people hear that, they're already laughing. But I'll explain it to people who don't really know. So it's the mother and the son. So the son is the main character, David, and they are making enchiladas. But they've been rich all their lives, and so they never had to make their own food. And so they get the recipe to make these enchiladas, and one of the directions is folding in the cheese.
Next step is to fold in the cheese.
What does fold in the cheese mean?
He folds it in.
I understand that, but how do you fold it? Do you fold it in half like a piece of paper and drop it in the pot, or what do you do?
And not good for podcasting, but one of my favorite things to watch, period. So
I'm really curious now. I might have to go check this episode out.
I watched all these on YouTube. So all of the things I recommend you can watch on YouTube. And I made sure that all these are very funny. So but what were you going to say?
I was going to say, I know how to make enchiladas, and I still have no idea what folding in the cheese means. So
they were making bechamel. And bechamel.
Okay, no, I know. Never mind. I know what that means.
Nice. Very good. You're well equipped in the French cooking, I hear.
I like French cooking and Italian cooking are by far my two favorite cuisines.
I don't even know what that word is you said.
Cuisine?
No, the whatever the technique was.
Oh, bechamel?
Yeah.
It's just a like a cream-based sauce that you put cheese in. Yeah. It's like the building block of all your cream-based sauces.
Yeah,
you gotta have it in your arsenal if you're gonna cook. Very close with what?
Very close to fracking. I would say it's the fracking of making sauces.
Do you even know what fracking is, besides you just throwing out the term?
Not a clue.
You drew a diagram and explained it to me. I didn't go to school for it, but I know that it's how you extract oil
kind of
from the
I'll
ground.
give it to you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
If that's the bar for knowing what fracking is, I would like to change my answer to I know what fracking is.
Well, and then like different channel waves. It's kind of like a tree trunk, right? Like a rooting system.
It's like a root system, basically, or branches.
Yeah, I would say it's like the process is injecting liquid at high pressure in rocks.
Are you Googling this shit right now? You overplayed your hand.
Shoot.
Yes.
Oh man.
See, we tend to more like the Asian side of foods instead of French, American or Asian.
Asian people?
Yeah,
Right. I don't know how to go from there. All right.
It's we have to all like different types of food so we can appeal to our wide range of listener.
It's true. Lou, do you like South American food? Because we really need to, get in that market.
I've been getting into plantains. They eat some plantains down there, so fried plantains is pretty tasty.
Fried plantains is really. Have you ever been to what's that place? They give you the fried plantains for free. It's out in like the Novi Northville blended area. It's like a Brazilian barbecue place, but it's mostly just steaks.
Gauchos,
yeah.
Yeah, why would you eat anything beside the meat there?
So actually, the reason for that is because the enzymes in the plantains actually help break down food. So like they help with the digestive process. So it's like a addition by subtraction thing. You can actually eat a little bit more if you take a little break to have one of those plantains.
Yeah.
Wow. The more you know.
Yeah. Right?
For anyone that's not from this area, gauchos is like a Texas Day Brazil, where, you just get this piece of paper. Green means they keep on bringing like meat out to you, and red it means no meat.
Yeah, it's a dream. It's amazing. You get these dudes dressed like Brazilian cowboys, gauchos, and they just have these huge metal sticks with different cuts of meat on it, and they'll just be like, sirloin? And you're like, yeah, sirloin. And they're like, grilled chicken? And you're like, get that away from me. I'm saving all my room for steak and shrimp.
They had really
and then
good.
They'll be like, good.
I was gonna say, they have really good Parmesan pork.
The Parmesan pork is pretty good. I had it once. I don't know that I'd have it again, but it's literally more of a like, just gotta wait for that like whenever they have like the eye of ribeye stuff. Like they got every now and then they'll bring the good stuff around and you're like, ooh, give me some of that.
Yeah, but it's like
because it's a flat rate. You're not paying by the bite. It's like you go in, you drop your like
it's like
$50 a head.
Yeah,
but it's so good. It's worth it if you're celebrating something.
Well, and like at least for Texas Day Brazil, I've been to the one down in Tulsa, and that's more of a chain. They have like a lunch rate, so they don't have the filet mignon, but they have most of the things on the menu.
I'll have to look into that. Plus, you take the day off, you go in at noon, and you camp until like 5.
You could almost make that a challenge. Like, you know how they're like you have to stay in a diner, but for like every pancake you eat, it's an hour off. Every steak you eat, it's an hour off your time.
I like it. I really like this. All right, 1 like, and we will all do this challenge when Rob comes down for the for the draft.
I have to start saving. My goodness.
That's what I was thinking. I was just about to say that. I was like, oh, I'm gonna have to put more money in my savings account because we got to go to the Korean barbecue too. We're gonna have the meat sweats, boy.
It's true.
Right.
You just the draft's happening. It'll pan over, and you just see me drenched in sweat and grabbing my stomach. Like, this guy's looks like he's about to throw up, and then throw up on Roger Goodell. The whole crowd cheers. Then I'm tackled and beaten up, and you never see me again.
Hey, but you had a good weekend though.
It's true. So my number 4 also comes from Community, and this one is from season 1 called Introduction to Film, and that is Abed's film Six Candles. And really, it's the reason why it's so touching is because the premise is the video album makes itself is nothing to write home about. But the premise of this episode is Abed's dad finds out, I don't remember what he was supposed to be doing, but that his son is doing film school. Mike, do you remember what degree he's supposed to be going for?
He wants him to get essentially a business degree, any degree that'll help him run the family falafel stand.
But, Abed's true passion is film. And his dad's like, all right, I'm not going to pay for your film classes. Like, that's none of that. And then the whole thing is he's making like a documentary, and he ends up putting this thing together where he kind of feels like, it's basically saying he feels like this outsider and his parents don't love him. And I don't know if his parents got a divorce or like his mom died. I don't remember which one it is. But like at the end, you just see like his dad's crying because he finally had this realization that like this is what his son wants.
His son is hard to understand. If making movies help him be understood, then I pay for the class.
With falafel as a fallback.
And he decides he's going to pay for his film school. And that's just something I think, a lot of people can relate with. That, like, maybe you have a dream and your parents don't support it, but it's just good to get that feeling. It's just that heartwarming to see, like, the parent get behind their kid and be like, all right, I might not understand this. I wouldn't do this, but here, I'll support you in your dream. And that's really touching to me. So that's why it's my number 4.
It is such it's an Abed episode. They're all somewhat odd, but it is a really great moment. And if you check episode 1, season 1, minute 2, you will find that Abed's dad is angry that his mother left him.
I'm glad you know down to the minute.
It's the second scene. It's the first real scene with Jeff and Abed. When Abed's just giving his entire left story. If I had it memorized better, I'd do it because it's hilarious, but I'm going to get it wrong and then it's going to be offensive. So I'm going to not try. But go watch the first episode of Community. It's a fantastic show and you'll get the joke.
Yeah, I figured it was divorced because it was like the picture split in half, but I couldn't remember off the top of my head, and I just watched the scene, so that's why I said both, because I didn't know which one was which.
Did they ever tackle did they ever address what Abed was Abed autistic? Did they ever
I think it's vaguely played around. I don't know that they ever directly say it outside of a punchline. Because Jeff tells him he has Asperger's in the first episode, but it's never addressed as to whether or not that was just a super mean insult or whether or not that was an accurate statement. It was intended as an insult, but
yeah, I think this kind of uses an insult against Abed throughout the show.
I think Troy and Abed together, I think, is my favorite duo of all time.
Oh, so good!
It is
definitely up there.
It is It is such beautifully done. Like the when they were doing the tent city, absolutely great. It's just very heartwarming.
All right, number 3s.
Number 3.
Sure.
So my number 3, and you could take just about any moment from this episode, but obviously I'm going to go with the climactic moment of the episode, and that is The Office, Season 4, Episode 15, Dinner Party. Dinner Party is considered by many to be the best episode of The Office ever. I'm open to a couple arguments, but am inclined to agree that Dinner Party is the best episode of the show.
I'm more of a Scott's
and essentially,
guy myself.
Oh my gosh. As much as I like uncomfortable humor, Scott's Tots hurts my soul, man.
I thought Dinner Party was more uncomfortable, but that's just me.
Yeah, it varies from person to person. I fell asleep one time watching The Office and woke up to the Scott's Tots singing, "Hey, Mr. Scott, what you gonna do?" And it was when you wake up from a nap and you're already kind of groggy and off put. Mm-hmm. Yeah, when you wake up and you're in the middle of like the most uncomfortable moment of Scott's Tots, I was just like, I was done. My whole day was just completely blown to pieces. But yeah, so dinner party, basically you have Michael tricks Pam and Jim into coming over to have dinner with him and Jan, then invites Andy and Angela, and it's just, the whole thing's just awkward and uncomfortable because it's really highlighting the dysfunction of Michael and Jan's relationship. But it's funny because everybody else has to deal with the uncomfortableness of their relationship. And you see throughout the episode, Michael has a display case for his Dundee, and he's got his tiny little TV, like the size of a laptop screen that he has mounted on the wall. It's a plasma screen, though, so you gotta love it. And, everybody finally sits down for dinner. At this point, Dwight and his old babysitter have crashed the party. Everything is going wrong, and Jan snaps.
That is a $200 plasma screen TV you just killed! Good luck paying me back on your $0 a year salary plus benefits, babe!
And it's just uncomfortable comedy at its absolute best. It's kind of like, shoot, what was your show, Lou? The one with the I Think I Should Leave?
I Think I Should Leave, yep.
Yeah, it's kind of like I Think You Should Leave, where it's over the top, it's uncomfortable, it's cringy, and it's hard to describe, but if you've seen it and you like the show, you're laughing right now.
So I shouldn't watch So You Think You Should Leave.
I don't know. I Think You Should Leave, but I don't really like The Office. But to be fair, I only watched the first season of The Office, so I don't know.
It doesn't get much better.
It gets so much better.
I wanted a reaction on it.
First, that's fair. I do the same thing whenever I get the chance. So, yeah, but I would say definitely watch the first episode of I Think You Should Leave, and I think you get a pretty good feeling for whether or not you're going to like the show. Does not apply to The Office, though.
Yeah, I mean, if you like cringe humor, then you'll like The Office.
Yeah, I think the show is a lot more than just cringe humor, but I think it's really easy.
Stuff, right?
It has its moments, but I think it has enough cringe humor that it's easy to just get stuck on it. Like, there's some people who just can't move past it, and I would never hold that against them, except Rob. I hold it against Rob, but everybody else gets a pass.
Well, it's like, I'll use this analogy. It's like if there's something you don't like, and it's like, say, I don't like mustard. If there's mustard in my burger, all I can taste is that mustard. Doesn't matter if I like scrape it off or whatever. All I can taste is that remnants of the mustard, even if there's not a lot left. So I think it's similar to that, where it's just like, I don't like this, so it's going to amplify it.
Yeah, absolutely. Makes perfect sense. It's a bummer, man, because it's just good.
Nah, Parks and Rec is better.
That's it. Strong disagree. But, I do enjoy some Parks and Rec from time to time.
Definitely has the better Andy at the 2/3 Bizarre brothers over there.
I'm not going to fight you there, that's for sure. All right, Lou, what do you got?
Yeah, all right. My number 3 is The Desert, Avatar: The Last Airbender, Season 2, Episode 11.
Ooh.
So I think Avatar is on par with one of the best animes. I know people don't consider it an anime, but I think it's a very good gateway cartoon to get into anime. It's beautifully written. Me and my wife watched it, I think during COVID, rewatched it. And I was so surprised that a Nickelodeon show had so much depth to it and so good. So the episode before that, the main character loses his favorite pet. Very much like how you consider Appa. Appa. I was just trying to explain it to people who don't watch the Avatar. But Appa is this fly bison that pretty much the main character grew up with. So he absolutely loves this thing. Loves it. And then it gets stolen. Some people steal it. And one of his friends is kind of the reason why it got stolen. Like, she was trying to do one thing, trying to keep them alive, but also trying to make sure that Appa didn't get stolen. But she failed on the Appa part. And so just heart-ripping, tearing, you're seeing this beautiful emotion, and you're just like, oh my gosh, is Appa going to be okay? Are they going to eat Appa? And through this next episode 11, the main character is trying to find Appa and completely left his friends in the desert, and his friends now have to track through the desert with one of the person that, it's hard to explain, but the person that one of the friends are blind, but she can see through her feet. I swear, if you've never watched the show, it's such a good show.
She has tremor. Put it in D&D terms, she has tremor sense.
Basically, yeah. So as they're going through this desert, they don't have any water, and then Sokka, which is the only guy who can't actually bend, finds a cactus. and he cuts open the cactus and he drinks the cactus juice.
There's water trapped inside these.
I don't know.
Suit yourself. It's very thirst quenching though. Drink cactus juice. It'll quench you. Nothing's quenchier. It's the quenchiest.
Okay, I think you've had enough.
How did we get out here in the middle of the ocean?
And this guy is high on cactus juice, and Momo, who is a sky lemur, is also high, and the sky lemur can like fly, and so he's flying in hardcore circles and then nosediving into the sand. It's crazy because like the episode before that was like the saddest episode. I think the second saddest episode. And then now people are high. It's just like, what is up with this show? But I'm all for it. It's really fun.
Did you say you didn't watch that until the pandemic?
I watched it as a kid, but like as a kid, you're just like,
Yeah.
you're just a kid, so you don't understand emotions really. And then I rewatched it. Me and my wife rewatched it together, and I was like, oh wow, this is not, I don't know, SpongeBob. I'll tell you that much.
I think it's my wife's favorite show.
I think you're right. Is there any like real world correlation to that? Like if you drink cactus juice, do you get all loopy?
It's so funny that you said that. I was just reading a Reddit post. I didn't read it fully, but apparently, yeah.
There's
I think if you
there's
drink
this
certain-
cactus you can eat that's supposed to give you the psychedelic effects. I had some friends try it in high school. They said it didn't do anything to them. But yeah, you can just.
Yeah.
I think they were actually. I think we were in college at the time, so they weren't just high schoolers trying to get high. But yeah, you can just like buy. They could just buy it online.
I guess it makes sense. Like they can't really say no, you can't buy cactus.
They can say no, I can't buy mushrooms.
That's true. The law makes no sense sometimes.
Or just plants that grow out
What
of the
is it?
ground.
Is it salvia or something like that?
Well, I
You
think
guys know that?
that's the legal. That's like a legal psychedelic, and there's theories that the U.S. government lets it be legal because it's like so intense that they think it'll turn people off psychedelics.
Gosh, we at the Top Podcast do not promote drugs of any kind.
Despite
to
everything you may have heard over the last several weeks.
Especially if you are under 18 or 21. Sorry, both.
Whatever's legal.
If
Whatever's
it
legal.
is not legal, we do not support it.
Amen.
There you go. We got covered all our bases there.
You love to hear it. Except there's
Well,
you can make that left turn sometimes. Like go for it. Just look both ways. Careful.
And drive sober.
And drive sober. But, stop signs. No. I stop at all my stop signs. Don't worry. We're good.
and use your turn signal.
Lucian,
That's more so directed at one specific person, but yeah. It's good advice for us all.
Lucian, is your wife just so afraid to drive because she's been riding with you this whole time and you don't stop for? You allegedly stop for stop signs?
I'm actually a great driver. This is all just because I think this episode is a little wild, that I'm trying to bring a little humor into it. I'm actually a pretty good driver. I have never gotten a ticket, no car accidents.
You hit a bear.
Clean and sober. I was in the car when a bear got hit. I was
you're
not
the passenger.
driving. I was the passenger.
Wait, hold on. Tell me more about this.
You want to hear about the bear story?
I mean, is it a good story?
It's a solid story. I mean,
how many people have hit a bear before?
Yeah, like I feel like it's got to be a good story.
It's a pretty solid story. Yeah, it's my top 5 of stories that I like to tell.
Oh, well then, by all means.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I was just chilling at home, and one of my friends calls me, and he says that he broke up with his girlfriend. I was like, oh, that's not good. He's like, yeah, I need to go see her. And I was like, oh, that's not how
What?
usually breakups work.
Yeah, no.
So I was like, okay. And he was like, yeah, I just, I feel like if I see her, we can make it up. And I was like,
no.
Let's not do that. And he's like, no, I'm going to do it. And you're coming with me. And I was like, it's like a 4-hour drive to go up north. I have work the next day. I cannot do that. And he was like, I'm going to pick you up soon. So get dressed. And I was like, I'm not coming. And he hung up the phone. And then he pulls up to my house and he's like, hey, all right, let's go. And I was like, all right, I guess I'm going. And so I was like, but I need to get home for tomorrow. I cannot miss work tomorrow. I have to make sure. So if we're gonna drive 4 hours, you're gonna have to drive 4 hours up and 4 hours down. He's like, I will. And he's like, okay. And so we get it there, and they immediately make up. And they are like making out in the woods while I'm just standing there looking at horses. So they make out in the woods. I stand there awkwardly, hearing lips smacking. He goes to the father and he apologizes, and it's just a super beautiful, happy, getting back together story. And it starts getting dark, and I'm like, dude, we gotta get going. And he's like, okay, but let me. So he kisses more kissing, and then it's pitch dark, and I'm like, dude, we have to go. And so it's around like 12 o'clock at night, and we're driving through woods. I don't know, like just woods. And I'm asleep, and I open my eyes for a little bit, and I see this dark figure just walking in the woods, just walking on the street, on the road. And we hit this bear, and smoke starts bellowing into the car. But we hit this bear, we didn't know it was a bear, but we hit the bear, and we slow down. We don't flip or turn, but it's just like this two bumps, like bump, 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 bump. Smoke starts bellowing into the car.
Wait, did you run over the bear?
I to my understanding, we ran over the bear. Yeah. It was a baby bear. It was not a full-size bear.
Oh, I didn't know it was a
cub. I was gonna say no, big it was bear, like a small bear, or a big truck.
Like a teenage bear. It wasn't a full bear. I know that's for sure. It wasn't
bear.
Like a
classic.
It wasn't like a 500-pounder.
Trying to be edgy.
It was like a moody teenage bear.
It was a moody teenage bear that was trying to be all moody and all trying to.
He was wearing his dark colors instead of his reflectives while he was walking across the road.
Exactly. So smoke bellows in, and that's what freaks me out the most is that like the whole car starts filling up with smoke almost immediately. I get out and I look back and I see this Sasquatch. Like I've never seen a bear up close in the wild, and I'm like freaking out and I'm shaking and I'm like I don't know what to do with myself. And there's no cell service. There's zero cell service, and my friend ends up getting service and calls 911, and the police come and the ambulance come and they check us out, and there's like nothing wrong with us, but I'm completely shaking. But I hear in the back they're like, they ran over a bear, and the guy was like, they ran over a bear, and he's like, let me call my meat guy, and the guy calls his buddy to take this bear and make meat out of it, and I am freaking out. I'm just like, I need to get out of this place. I need to leave. So the cops take us back to the station. We end up staying the night at the girlfriend's house at the parents'. I sleep on the couch, and I missed the day of work.
Did he pay you back for that day of missed work?
No, he didn't pay me back. Sure. He wasn't making any money around that time.
Did you get the cops to write you a pass, like, to whom it may concern, Lucian missed work because he ran over a bear?
I was working for my father at the time, and I took a picture of the bear, and I sent it to him, and it was like, hey, we ran over a bear. I think, like, he understood the situation.
It's crazy that, like, if someone is like, oh, I got a meat guy, let's call him up, because we're doing this, like, routine thing where there's other people out in the oil field, and they were talking, because it's deer hunting season, or it was back when we were doing it, it's, like, prime time deer hunting season. They were, like, going over this whole thing, like, where if you hit a deer, you don't actually want the meat, because it's going to be all bruised and everything. It's something I never thought of. And they're like, oh, you don't want to... you want to use something that'll kill it fast so the adrenaline doesn't go in and taint the meat. And I'm just like, I didn't know all this, like, happened. Like, I never thought of, like, how an animal's, like, chemicals can, like, taint meat and everything. So, yeah, I'm just surprised they still wanted that meat.
Yeah, me too. I wonder if you make it out of jerky, if, like, that means anything. Or, like, sausages and stuff.
Well, yeah, you could probably ground it. Maybe it'll be fine.
And maybe it'll be fine. I have no idea. As soon as I heard, let me get the meat guy, I thought I was going to be next a little bit. Surrounded by I was trying to get
surrounded by all these white people.
I was trying to get out as quickly as possible, but continue sitcoms, yes.
Yeah. So my number 3, not as crazy as a bear story, but it is from Parks and Rec season 3. The episode's called Eagleton. And this has to do with the B plot, where it's Ron's birthday and Leslie finds out. So she plays this, like, sick psychological warfare on Ron Swanson, who is just very reserved introvert guy. Like, he doesn't like, being around a lot of people. One of my favorite lines by him is like, I had one of my favorite coworkers I ever met, like, we never said a word together, and he's like, and we still don't talk sometimes. And it's just like, he's just very he has like 2 people that he'll talk to, and that's it. And he doesn't like anything crazy. He doesn't like the attention on him. So Leslie, like, starts having April, another character, like, make calls and be like, how many balloons can you order for this party and all that. And one of the jokes, like someone else who's a nurse walks in with balloons for the sick kid, and he just goes and starts popping the balloons because he doesn't know they're for the sick kid. By the end, he is just distraught. He's sleeping in his office because he doesn't want to go home because he's afraid that Leslie is like a surprise party waiting for him. And at the end, you find out that this was all just mess with him, and his birthday present.
Why would I throw Ron Swanson an Ann Perkins party? So, I have rented Bridge on the River Kwai and the Dirty Dozen. Artie from security is outside the door, so no one will bother you. And a cab will be here whenever you're ready to take you home.
Thank you.
And it's just like so heartwarming that like, yeah, like even though he didn't mess with him, like she knew deep down what he actually wanted. It was just, you just see this big smile on his face and everything. And it's, yeah, it's very heartwarming.
What a good show. I love the show.
Me too.
Yeah, and every character has... I think the show does a really good job with showcasing every character, too. There is no... Everybody's the main character. That's like my favorite thing.
Except Donna. Donna gets like 1 or 2 episodes, if that, or half episodes. But
yeah, but those are pretty strong episodes, I guess, so that's why... That is fair. And also Jerry, but like Jerry's Jerry.
Dude,
so it's
how'd he get his wife?
Yeah, it's true.
Well, he's got an enormous penis, so...
Forgot to check for the lumps. And just that man has the largest.
Oh my gosh, there's so many good. I love the athletic guy, Chris Traeger.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, yeah, where he's like, I can't stop pooping.
He's saying it to himself in the mirror. He's like, stop pooping.
Or when Ron like finds out the computer is spying on him, so he takes the whole thing
Yes.
and tosses it right.
That one's good. Oh, that's right. I forgot about that one. I was thinking of delete all pictures of Ron.
Delete all pictures of Ron. Or like when Leslie comes, like, I got your bacon. He looks up. No, you didn't.
This was gonna be on my top. Okay, I'll wait till the end. To do honorable mention. It's so good. Yeah, good show. I recommend it. And it's wholesome. It's pretty clean.
Mm-hmm.
It is pretty clean.
And you get the best side character ever, John Ralphio. Do you guys like John Ralphio? My wife absolutely hates John Ralphio.
I mean, I wouldn't want to hang out with John Ralphio, but as a character in a TV show, he's wonderful.
I would love for John Ralphio to be in my corner man.
Yeah, you want him to be
and
your
then,
hype
but
guy.
not listen to one thing he says though. Not any. I wouldn't listen to any recommendations, but I would love for him to just sing in my ear.
But he got his money the old-fashioned way. I got run over by Alexis. Was it Steve from Stranger Things is his biological father or something?
It is not the craziest theory.
I don't really.
They do look a. Oh, really? It's pretty good. But yeah, no, oh man, it gets better, and then it gets worse, and then it gets better again.
Yeah, I never finished season 4. I never watched season 4.
Season 4 was weird because like I didn't really like the first maybe 2 episodes. I don't remember if I want to say it was the first 2 episodes. I was really unsure, and then the 3rd episode, I was like, "This one's all right," and then it just kept getting better and better and better and better. And it took a while to get good, but man, when it got good, it was next level.
Yeah, one of those characters, the actor looks very much like John Ralphio. So there's a fan theory that he was like John Ralphio's biological father and put him up for adoption or something like that. I don't remember the whole theory.
We should do top 5 theories.
Top 5 conspiracy.
Ooh, that would be fun.
Well, you're up next, so you can choose that if you want. Keep it in your back pocket.
That's my number 1?
No, I meant like you're next
up
up for
I'm
topic.
Next.
My
Oh,
bad.
okay.
That was my number 3.
I got a pretty nice.
Yeah, I'm next. And we are on to number 2s. My number 2 is season 7, episode 2 of That 70s Show. And I think that season, all the episodes were named after, they were all named after songs. I don't remember which band because they did it for a couple different seasons. But it's the episode where Hyde meets his real dad, or that the rest of the cast at least meets his real dad. And the twist that nobody sees coming is that Hyde's dad is actually black. And nobody knows how to act around this guy. And it is so funny.
I'm not sure I see the resemblance. What are you talking about? My fro? My coolness? My suspicion of the man? This explains so much. Hey, would you like a drink? Perhaps a cool drink for our cool visitor?
Because Hyde is just sitting there like, oh, cool. My dad's black. He's just super chill. Like, it doesn't even faze him. And everybody else is just so painfully awkward in a different sort of way. And I had never laughed harder than that in my life when I saw that episode for the first time, and it still gets just fantastic laugh out of me every time because like Eric is trying to be supportive about it. Like it's like being black isn't like a condition, so like you don't need to be supportive. That's what he's trying to do. So every time he finishes a sentence, Eric will be like, "Yeah, power," and like Kitty does that classic thing of she doesn't know what to do and she feels awkward, so she just ends up being offensive in her desperate attempt not to be offensive. It's a fantastic episode. Like all my episodes, apparently, they're just I should have seen it coming. I like cringy and uncomfortable humor. And this one was top notch as well in that genre.
I watched, I think, that 70s show. I watched all of it in like 2 months. So I have, I don't remember almost any of it, but I do remember loving it.
Yeah, I watched because I was in like a show hole and just like nothing sounded good. So I was like, I'll watch this show. And I didn't like it. And I was probably like 4 seasons in before I started to not dislike it. And then I finished the show and was so sad that the show was over that I just watched it twice more in a row.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, so I just like I didn't like sit down and watch it nonstop, but that was just the only thing I watched for like 4 months.
I remember being young and wondering why there was smoke everywhere when they were hanging out. Being like, what's going on? I don't understand. And why are they giggling so much? I don't. I understand now.
Well, there's this boat and it runs on water. It's got an air-cooled fiberglass engine and it runs on water, man!
Yeah, time has kind of ruined that show for me with all the actors and all the stuff that came out from it. It's just kind of weird to go back and watch it.
I was going to ask you that question.
Well, especially like not just the Hyde actor, but then like it's coming out where like Ashton Kutcher was like getting dared. Cause, I mean, they're married now, but at the time, Mila Kunis was like 14 or like 15, like under the age of consent, and they were like doing various sexual things to her, like off of dares and all that, because I thought it was funny. Like, it's kind of weird to watch now.
I did not know about that one.
Me neither. I didn't know about Hyde.
Yeah, that's man.
Well, like, can you separate the artist from the work? Like,
yeah, for the most part, I am. And I haven't, I'm sure I could go back and when I put a clip in there, I think it's funny. It's kind of weird looking back now.
Yeah, I've been rewatching it and it is a little weird, but it's not, it hasn't ruined my ability to enjoy it. It does kind of suck though that like to learn that essentially everybody but Foreman was all kind of in the same boat and they're all doing the weird Scientology stuff. It's like Foreman came out of that looking like really, really good because essentially he never talked to any of them because they were all kind of doing the same stuff and they were all involved in the whole Scientology thing, which if you don't know about that, you go ahead and do your research.
Go watch South Park.
Or watch South Park. Yeah, it's there's some weird stuff going on, but the writing's still really good and it's still a lot of fun.
Is it Cheech or Chong?
Have you
Which
guys
one's in
watched,
it? I still love that. All of his
I want to say Tommy Chong.
You guys watched that 90s show?
It was all right. I wasn't blown away, but I didn't hate it.
Yeah, I watched a little bit of it. I thought it was decent.
I did
but
not.
Yeah, I wouldn't recommend it to anybody. But I mean, if you're a diehard that 70s show, the 90s not that bad.
I heard the best part of it was that 70 show characters, like their interactions.
You guys ever watched The Ranch?
I watched most of the
Dude, I stopped when Danny Masterson got kicked off because I was just kind of like, who's the guy they replaced him with?
I forget his name, but yeah, he wasn't.
He
didn't bring the same energy.
I can't stand that guy either. Like, he's just not one of my favorite actors. He annoys me to no end. And so I was just like, I'm not sticking around for Zach, what's his name? Yeah, so I quit watching, but it was so good. It was one of the funniest shows I've ever seen.
Yeah, I found out about it through you, Mike. But yeah, I stopped like before the last season. I think I got to like the second last episode of the second to last season, and then just never picked it back up again.
All right, Lou, what you got?
My turn. All right, so I actually skipped my 3. That's why I thought we were on 1s. But this is a solid. I would put this in my 2 spot. To be fair, I do love Avatar. I'll put this on my 2 spot. So it's All In, season 3, episode 1, New Girl. So the what's going on? So are you laughing because you like New? Did you like New Girl, Mike?
I'm not a diehard. I have a lot of opinions about New Girl. I would love to just talk New Girl for like half an hour sometime. But I do think the show's really funny. I might. That could be kind of fun. Watch out for that. I got a lot of feelings about Winston and how Coach affected his character's ability to be written throughout the show. Like, I think Winston kept getting identity crises because Coach kept being able to be on the show and then not being on the show, and they kept having to like split Winston's character into two, and it just anyway, all in.
That's so funny because that's one of my favorite parts about Winston is that he was struggling to find out who he was, but he was doing so well in all of it. Like he was a nanny for a little bit, and he was absolutely killing it with that kid.
And then he gets fired.
I don't know. And he gets I can't remember why he gets fired though.
He gets the kid like lies to get him fired so that he will go and like to go do better. He's like, you can do better than being a nanny. And so he gets him. He's like, you're the best nanny I've ever had, but you need to spread your wings. And then he gets his mom to fire him.
So cute. It's so cute. It's so good. My favorite character. This is outside of this, which maybe I should have put that as my. No. My favorite character is the Asian guy, the Asian old
that Nick
guy.
talks to?
That Nick talks to. It's so funny, dude. It's so cute. And then Nick ends up falling in love with, ends up dating his. Like,
that's right.
Yeah,
Forgot about
who
that.
ends up being like a millionaire or something. But yeah.
Oh, isn't that
New
the
Girl's
person
so
from
good.
Sweet Life, whatever her name? Wasn't that New Girl?
No, somebody else dates Brenda Song.
Okay.
That's a Winston love interest, but she wasn't on there as long as I would have liked.
Yeah, she ended up cheating on him with a big black guy. Like a size 18 shoe black guy. Yeah.
Makes sense. I'd do the same.
But he ended up stealing her cat, huh?
What?
Yeah, but he ends up stealing her cat, so that's pretty so that's cool. So yeah, love New Girl. All in. So Winston, if you know Winston's character, he's just like hyper focused. He gets hyper focused or he gets completely distracted. That's kind of like his thing. I think in my eyes, I guess. And he's doing a puzzle.
Winston, do we think now is really the right time to be starting a puzzle?
Yeah, I'm great at puzzles.
You're a born puzzler, Winston. Sure. But
I'm gonna do you puzzle right on the table. As nasty as you want to be. Hey, Schmidt, what do you think it's gonna look like?
What do I think it's going to look like?
Yeah, the puzzle.
Winston, it's on the box. The picture's on the box. It's a Japanese garden.
But we find out that Winston is colorblind, and that's why he can't finish the puzzle. And it's just so funny to see, like, because Schmidt's like doing this puzzle, and he's like, as he's doing the puzzle, his clothes are starting to like come off, and at the end he wears a hoodie for pants. He can't finish the puzzle because he's colorblind, so like some of the pieces are upside down. And Schmidt's like, what are you doing? Did you put an almond in this puzzle? And when Schmidt gets upset, he has this like bro talk. When he's like gonna fight somebody, he's like, "What's up, bro? What's up? What you gonna do? What you gonna do, man? I'm Schmidt, bro." And it's absolutely hilarious. It's not even like the main part of the story, and I think that's what I find most enjoyable, is because the two main characters are trying to fall in love with each other in Mexico, and Nick loses his passport and he gets put into like Mexican jail. But the fact that Winston's doing this puzzle, I think, is absolutely hilarious.
Gotta play their drinking game.
Very good.
True American. You can look up the rules online, and
didn't you try it once?
It's a lot of fun, multiple times, and it was fun every time. We actually, so there was Hot Kyle was dating this girl who was actually an appropriate age for him at the time, and then our friends Belle and Eli were together at the time too, and so the three of us had what we called triple date night. We spent all this time finding a day where all six of us were free, and we went over to Kyle and Eli's place for triple date night. And we are midway through a game of True American, and Austin and his like in-between girlfriend, like he broke up with his long-term girlfriend, the girlfriend of Kyle running into the door. They broke up, and he was dating this girl before, the girl he ended up with. As Ted from How I Met Your Mother would say, before you meet your wife, you have to make one last horrible mistake. That was this chick. And they show up in the middle of triple date night. They're in the middle of a squabble. She's drunk, and she pulls Belle and Lex into a side room, and she basically shuts Mackenzie out of the entire happenings. And so now it's just Mackenzie and the three guys, and Austin's it was a total nightmare. It might have been a you had to be there moment, but like it was the most fun I've ever had, and then immediately spiraled into just a terrible evening. But that was because people in a bad situation just appeared unwanted.
Brought down the vibes.
Yeah, it killed it. I've never seen a night just collapse that fast. But it was not True American's fault.
So my number 2 is kind of, it all comes to fruition in season 8 of How I Met Your Mother, called The Final Page. And this is when Barney finally proposes to Robin. And I just think, we've talked about it in the past, and I just think Barney's character arc of being this womanizer to like finally finding this woman that he loves and wants to get married. And we just don't pretend season 9 exists, but like that whole thing is just such good writing. And like the whole thing is like he basically set up this whole ploy to think that he was gonna propose to this woman Robin hates and ends up being Robin. And like it's this whole thing.
Step 10. Prove your loyalty to Patrice by burning the playbook. And actually burn it. You don't need it anymore. Step 13. Wait and see if Ted tells Robin. And if he does, it means your best bro in the world has let go of Robin and has given you his blessing.
It's man, it's just like, it's such a good, like, I guess a love story. And I hate what they did to Barney and Robin at the end of season 9, just so they could fit their ending. But yeah, I don't really know how to describe it without going to like a play-by-play of the episode. But it's just fantastic.
It is fantastic. Isn't it a blonde that he's trying to trick Robin into?
No, it's Patrice.
Can't remember. It's been so long.
Patrice.
I will say, like,
the heavier woman at the news thing that she always shouts about, and like that's one I could tell the show was starting to go down in season 8 because they limited a lot of Robin's jokes. She just Patrice, and it's just like but it didn't really truly tank until season 9, in my opinion.
Yeah, I do. I mean, if maybe. It probably could have happened. So without them breaking up, Barney couldn't understand what like fatherly love was, I guess, unless they got Robin pregnant, which I guess then he could. I don't know.
But they couldn't have done that because Robin's barren.
They could have adopted though. Like
they could have adopted, I guess. But that scene, I think, from my eyes, is more important than the scene where he is proposing to Rob.
Yeah,
it is a great scene.
That's like the one good part in season 9, but like they still destroyed a lot of his character just for that one. They're like, all right, we can kind of try to build him back up.
Yeah, that's fair. I don't disagree. And when they got all fat and ugly together, that was pretty cute.
But that was the first breakup they had.
Oh yeah, sorry.
The stormtrooper, the cheap stormtrooper walking.
When you guys were watching that, Becca texted me and she was like, I swear, if Barney and Robin break up, I quit everything. And I was just like, how do I ask whether or not this is the first or the second time they're dating without spoiling it if it's the first time they're dating? And so I had to I was like, oh, so who's Ted dating right now? And then had to go back and check to be like, where are they? So I cannot spoil this.
What a detective. Good job.
But they only date first for 3 or 4 episodes, it feels like. So that was at least a short.
Yeah, the first time is actually pretty quick. But you have the whole buildup of Barney realizing that he actually has feelings for her. So it's even though the payoff is not as long as you want it to be, the arc isn't all that short.
Mm-hmm. So do you think Ted should have ended up with Robin or no? What's your guys' thoughts on the ending? I haven't asked you guys.
I think Ted should have ended with nobody. Personally,
dang.
Swallowed him. I actually don't hate that. I've never even considered that until just now, but I like that a lot. Yeah, I don't have a problem with the two of them ending up together. I don't have a problem with Ted ending up with Robin. I have a problem with the way Barney and Robin end, right? So it's if we're just going to accept that Barney and Robin ended the way they did, well then yeah, sure, Ted and Robin should be together, I guess. I don't hate it, but I'm also not crazy about it.
Yeah, I like the alternative ending better. But
it's way better. So much better.
I don't think I heard this. What's the alternative ending?
It's that the mom recovers, and I think it hints that Barney and Robin get together. I could be remembering that wrong, but it's the more happy ending. But I will say, going back and watching that episode where Ted's running and knocks on his wife's door and it's hey, it's I just wish we could have these moments together. That felt that hit me hard the second time through. And Becca's what is going on? And I'm just it's nothing. You'll understand later.
Yeah, it isn't it. I don't know. I heard a ton of people. I remember when the show ended, and a ton of people were upset that the mother died. I had heard the theory that the mother was dead 4 seasons before it was even over, and it was James from camp. I don't know if either of you guys remember him.
Yeah.
But he was yeah, you tell kids the story of how you met your mother when their mother dies. The mother clearly dies, and I was and then I was so prepared for it. I had 4 years to mentally and emotionally be ready for the mom to die, so it hit different. But if you didn't know that was coming, it's got to just really kind of feel like the rug is pulled out from under you.
Yeah, I wish they would have broken up that last season, like maybe the first like 3 or 4 episodes, just the wedding, and then like kind of did the more future, because it was just way too quick.
Yeah, or at least like half and half. You know, like they spent way too much time on the wedding. The wedding episodes aren't even that good, so you could have trimmed a lot of that fat out and then really expanded afterwards. Freaking Jason Segel not wanting to be on the show anymore.
They should have just had him eat more sandwiches. That would have made the show a lot better. All right, number ones.
All right, I had to draw a diagram for my number one. So my number one is from Frasier season 5, episode 14. The episode is entitled Ski Lodge. And the premise of the episode is that Frasier wins or receives a free weekend at this little ski lodge, and there is a professional ski instructor who is also going to go up with them and will give them skiing lessons. And so it's Frasier, his brother Niles, their dad, the dad's live-in caretaker, Daphne, and then Daphne's friend. Now, through the entire show, Niles is hopelessly in love with Daphne, but he's married to a woman we literally never see, who's just a terrible person. And so you feel for Niles, and you kind of like you love this, not really a relationship, but it's also something that can't happen. And so the dynamic is such: Frasier is immediately smitten with Daphne's friend. Daphne's friend is immediately smitten with Niles. Niles is still into Daphne like normal. Daphne is attracted to the ski instructor. The ski instructor, who is a man, is attracted to Niles. And the dad has a head cold and can't hear well. And so all of these people are running around trying to make the scenario work out so that they can either make their move or profess their love. And they'll all, at different times, will go talk to Niles and Frasier's dad, Martin. But he can't hear exactly what they're saying. So he's constantly mishearing them and then giving them bad advice. So it gets to the point where the ski instructor is convinced that Niles is gay, even though Niles is into Daphne. And it all comes to a head when everybody is either in the wrong room. It's so hard to describe. That's why I have a diagram. Basically, Frasier ends up convinced that the friend is into him. So he goes into the friend's room, but he's got the rooms mixed up. So he ends up in Daphne's room. Daphne then comes back into her room to find Frasier in her bed without a shirt on. And Niles is being hit on at the same time by the friend and the ski instructor. It's really hard to describe because it's so complicated. But that's the beauty of the show, is that they do these really complicated miscommunication mix-up scenarios, but they all make perfect sense when you're watching them. And it's such a funny episode. Everybody is upset at the end, and it all comes to a head, and Frasier goes,
all the lust coursing through this lodge tonight. All the hormones virtually ricocheting off the walls. And no one was chasing me.
If you haven't watched Frasier, you should check out Frasier. Show's freaking hilarious. And this episode in particular is one of the high points of the whole show.
So it's better than Cheers?
Oh my gosh, yes. Cheers is good. Cheers is fun. Frasier is way better. Yeah, you can watch the Ski Lodge on its own. You don't really need any like Frasier's one of those shows you can kind of pick up anywhere. It doesn't need to be kept track of. And yeah, it's a hilarious episode. Give it a watch.
My number one is The Fight, Parks and Rec, Season 3, Episode 13. It has to do with the snake juice.
Oh.
So,
I think this is the episode after the Eagleton one that I talked about.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
That's hilarious.
Is this the episode where they all get drunk?
Yeah.
Mackenzie told Mackenzie when I was looking for different moments, I was trying to figure out my list. That was the first thing she suggested.
That's what happens when you see somebody almost die. You get the connection. Yeah. The main story is not this. It happens at the end of the episode, and Tom Habersford and John Raffio open up a nightclub, and I don't know if it's like the first day, if it's the grand opening or not. I think it is, but
It's the grand.
but
It's
they
the
bring
grand
out
reveal of snake juice.
It's okay. So yeah, so snake juice is a alcohol that they are sponsoring. So yeah, so everybody's drinking snake juice. They get Ron Swanson.
Why aren't you holding the snake juice?
I'm more of a whiskey man.
Ron, come here. Come here for a bit. You're good right there. How about this, Ron? Try snake juice. If you like it, you gotta talk it up all night. If you don't, I'll shave John Ralphio's head.
Yeah, I'd like to see that. Hit me.
A lot riding on this.
Damn if that isn't delicious.
Oh!
And so Ron ends up loving snake juice. And I also think Ron has autism or Asperger's or something like that too. Just because that's just the idea. I don't know. I get that vibe. But he awkwardly goes up to people and he starts promoting snake juice to people. And so he goes up to this couple and he's like, "My name is Ron Swanson and I pretty much support snake juice." And the guy's like, "Okay, creep, fine." And he's like, "Listen, you don't know. My name is Swanson. and if I support something, it's 100% guarantee." And gives them the bottle of snake juice. And so everybody's getting drunk off of snake juice except for Donna and Chris. They do interviews in Parks and Rec. And while they were doing interviews, they're all extremely blasted on snake juice. And Ron Swanson is in a cute little hat and he's just doing a jig and he's smiling really, really big. And it is like, for me, it just warms my heart. Because Ron just doesn't smile often, and he's just having such a good time. Not Chris Pratt, but Andy Dwyer thinks he's in he pretends to be FBI sometimes, and he's doing like this thing with his girlfriend.
Hey, calm down there, Mike.
Yeah,
It's coming through the audio.
Oh shoot.
He's pretending to be FBI. April's pretending to be a rich woman from some country, old-timey country, and she's just speaking.
Janet
Snakehole.
Janet something. It's not Snakehole, that's right.
She's like just straight up speaking Spanish, I think. I actually don't know what language she's speaking.
Yeah, she's from her family's from Venezuela. Right?
It's just like fluent Spanish.
Fluent Spanish, which is like super crazy. Amy, Leslie is just crying. She's like mumbling her words. Ben is like he just says Baba Booey. That's just, I don't know. It's just like combat. It's just like hit after hit after hit, and it's just absolutely hilarious. And then my favorite is when Tom, I wrote this down. He's like, "I'm like an elephant. If I walk into a room, it's like, okay, he's in there." It's just so funny. It's just so funny. And when I found out, I was doing research on this, and I found out that Amy Poehler, the main character of the show, Poehler. She actually is directing this episode.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Episode, and so when they were doing this bit, when they were interviewing while they were drunk, they were just trying to make her laugh, and so they were just like doing anything to make Amy laugh, and you could just clearly see like just the effort and love that they put into it, and as she's directing the show, and yeah, it's just funny and heartwarming, and it's just a really good show.
All right, my number one.
Yes, sir.
I don't know if you guys have ever seen this show, but my number one is Meanwhile. It's an episode of Futurama. It's actually one of their endings because the show ended like 5 times, but it was their final ending before Hulu picked it up. And I just think, have you guys watched Futurama at all?
Very little.
I flirt with Futurama where I'll watch like episode here and an episode here, and I enjoy every single episode. I just haven't dived into it.
Exact same thing. Well, exact same boat. I've probably seen fewer than Lucien, but I've never not enjoyed it.
The show was canceled multiple times, so there's multiple different endings, but this was like I said, the final one before Hulu picked it back up, so there's a good chunk of time. And I just think, because you guys watched it, haven't watched it, it sounds like there's might be some interest there. Basically, like the way they wrap up 2 characters, it's just like, it's so wholesome. It's a very heartwarming and like, gosh, I don't really know how to describe it without going into it. It's like
it has to do with like restarting?
Kind of, yeah. So basically like these 2 characters, they end up like going through life together. And at that point, they're all alone. It's like only those 2 people on the planet. And then at the very end, they're like, oh, guess the professor comes like, good news, everyone! All right, I solved the problem. We can go through like this. Like, can get back to right before this happened. but you guys won't remember like anything, the whole life you experienced together and all that. And like they look at each other, they're kind of like contemplating, like, do we want to lose what we had? But like, it's worth it. Let's do it all again and go for it. And just like that just got me right in the feels there. Where they're just like, yeah, we had all this time together, but like we love each other so much that let's just go through it all again. And
yeah, I haven't watched enough to like have feelings for it, and I still had feelings for it, which was like super fun.
Why did you just watch like the last episode?
I didn't watch it fully. I just like saw a clip of it. Yeah. I'm not a crazy person. I'm not into feet, and also just watch the last episodes of things.
Yeah, Mike, didn't your mom like do something with that with Harry Potter?
Yeah, so essentially, so I was reading the book. She read, I want to say, the Dust Jacket, the first cover, or like the first chapter. And I'm like, I don't know, 2/5 of the way through the book when she does this, and then she flips to the last chapter, scans through it, and goes, "Yep, I knew Sirius Black was a good guy," and I was just like, what is your problem? You always ask me why I don't finish books, and this is why I don't finish books. And I have still not forgiven her for that.
Lou, what are we talking about next week?
We're going to do top 5 products you wish sponsored the podcast. Yeah, shoot your shot. Put your dreams out there. Shoot for the moon, you'll end up in the stars.
Should we make like a sales pitch for them? Like we're pitching these ideas?
Yeah, like why you would want this why would you want this product? Like why do you love this product so much, and why you wish it sponsored the podcast?
Oh, okay. So like things that we wish sponsored the podcast because we believe in the product.
We believe in the product, yeah. Like
okay.
Mine, I don't want to ruin it for you guys. I don't want to spoil it. I will say like
no, I got you. I got you.
All right, I'm gonna try to
so
make
like you really loved Eggland's Best Eggs, and you wanted to pitch why Eggland's Best Eggs, why we should be sponsoring them. Thank you for listening to this week's episode of the Top Podcast. If you enjoyed, please give us a like and a subscription, and leave a comment down below. Let us know any ideas you have for topics or questions that you want us to answer. We would love to do an episode from a listener. And until next time, pivot!